Hello, my beautiful people, and folks, we got a wild one here today. Like, seriously, I do not underestimate when I say that the show we are about to talk about, mainly the content that's in it, is fucking crazy. So I just finished watching Woodstock 99, Trainwreck. I got that title in reverse, but fuck it. And going into this show, I knew about Woodstock 1999, and I knew that it was a disastrous attempt to recapture the magic of the original Woodstock. But I didn't know why it was so disastrous until I sat down to watch this documentary, and holy shit, that was nuts. Like, I was just sitting there just stunned, like holy shit, this is actually happening right now. And I was just sitting at home, flat on my ass, watching it in my living room. I could only imagine what the people that were actually at Woodstock thought about that. Like, that must have been horrifying. But what did happen at Woodstock 99? Well, basically, Woodstock 99 was basically created as an attempt to recapture the magic of the original Woodstock from 1969. Nice. And there was another attempt to revive Woodstock back in 1994, but that didn't go very well, and not a lot of people showed up for that. The music was good, but it didn't really go well. So Woodstock 99 was viewed as the true Woodstock revival, to bring peace, love, and harmony to the kids of the 90s. And then you take a look at the musical acts that they had planned. My source here for the list of performances for the main East stage for Woodstock 99 included James Brown, G-Love and Special Sauce, Jamiroquai, where the fuck, Sheryl Crow, why I say Crow, it's Crow, DMX, The Offspring, Korn, Bush, and for the next day, it included the Tragically Hip, Kid Rock, Counting Crows, Dave Matthews Band, Alison Morrissey, Limp Bizkit, Rage Against the Machine, and Metallica. And for Sunday's show included Willie Nelson, the Brain Setzer Orchestra, Everlast, Elvis Costello, Jewel, Creed featuring Robbie Kringer, shut up, and the Red Hot Chili Peppers. Now, a couple of those names, it's a little off, because this is supposed to be Woodstock, peace, love, harmony, and all that crap. Why are there a bunch of hard rock and heavy metal bands showing up? Like some really fucking heavy metal bands like Korn and Limp Bizkit. The type of music that these bands make, or the type of fans that they have, don't really match the peace and harmony message that Woodstock 1969 had. So naturally, if you get a bunch of big popular bands and artists from the 90s that are mostly metal bands and hard rock, of course you're going to get a bunch of fans of those bands show up to this festival. But that was just the tip of the fucking iceberg. This is far more than just the music not quite matching the original Woodstock's vision. Oh, no. Just a heads up, this video is going to be less of a review of the actual show, Trainwreck Woodstock 99, and more just me talking about all the crazy shit that actually happened at Woodstock 99. So, be warned. But this is just crazy shit, and I need to tell somebody about this, and I just need to get it out there, man. I need to get it out there. So the first noticeable thing right out of the gate is that everybody's being loud and excited, which, you know what? They're basically going to a giant rock concert for an entire weekend. Of course they'd be loud and excited. And some people were walking around naked. Some people are topless, some people are bottomless, some people are wearing nothing at all. It's like, okay. I'm sure there were some naked people in the original Woodstock too. Whatever. But not like how nudists are typically naked. It's more like the drunk chick at a rock concert that sees a member of the band she really fucking loves, and to get that band member's attention, she just flashes her tits. They even show an MTV clip in the show which features one guy having his nuts just hanging out of his shorts, and he's waving them around like this, like, woo, Woodstock, woo! So yeah, nudity was a very common thing throughout Woodstock 99. Even some of the performers, like the bassist for Red Hot Chili Peppers, was completely buck-ass naked while he was on stage performing. Not to mention a lot of douchey guys were screaming at a lot of the women performers like Sheryl Crow to show us your tits! And just being very disrespectful. Which is another common thing that happened throughout Woodstock 99, that being very disrespectful. So the exact opposite of what the original Woodstock was. With the original Woodstock, everybody loved each other. They were being nice and they were coming together in harmony. Here, everybody was like out to get each other. Like, the staff didn't really respect the guests, and it took advantage of them like the moment they were in there. Like, the most notable one is the prices. Like, on day one, they were charging like $4 for a bottle of water, and by the final day, that gone up to like $12 for just a bottle of water. Oh yeah, and I forget to mention the fact that this whole event took place on a military compound. Yeah, Woodstock, peace and love, taking place on a military compound. How the hell does that work? And then we get to the musical acts, and with each coming musical act, the crowd just goes way more nuts, way more crazy, and they were screaming and yelling and getting all riled out up at the Offspring. They were screaming at Sheryl Crow to show them her tits. Not to mention, a lot of these wild ass motherfuckers came here for Korn. And by the time Korn came on stage, everyone went fucking nuts. The whole crowd lost it. There were tons of crowd surfing, tons of screaming, and people were jumping over the railings, and it was just nuts. And so it was hard to get them to calm down after that. So by the time Bush came on, it was like, well, shit. But Bush managed to calm them down a little bit. And some of his song choices actually did give a bit of the original Woodstock vibe, like a little bit. It was still fucking nuts out there, but it definitely wasn't to the levels of Korn. They interviewed Jonathan Davis of Korn for this show throughout all 3 of its episodes, and he expressed, like, yo, a lot of the behavior there was fucked up. Like, that was unacceptable, especially what they did to the women, which we'll get to in a minute. We'll get there, don't you worry. So the next day, Saturday, happened, and there's a bunch of trash on the ground, because very little trash cans were there. So there's just trash everywhere from all the partying that's been going on, and a lack of trash cans. And not to mention, the porta potties are a fucking disaster. There are shit stains all over the place, and they smell like death. This was when things started to get out of control, like, bad. Like, this is where a lot of the guests were not having fun anymore. People started to get hurt. Like, bad. Concussions, bleeding, broken body parts, ER out the fucking blue. Medics and doctors were treating like 6 to 7 patients at a time. It got crazy. But one of the craziest events of that night will have to be when Limp Bizkit performed. Limp Bizkit was the closing act of the Saturday show, and everybody went debatably crazier than what they did with Korn. They really fucking loved Limp Bizkit. Not to mention the fact that Fred Durst was debatably making the crowd more wilder on purpose. Like, yes, do this, Woodstock, yes! Like, a lot of people were saying, yo, Fred Durst was being a fucking asshole. But some other people in the interview was like, yo, there wasn't really a way that Fred could calm the crowd down, really, especially with the music he was playing. So the best he could do in that situation was just put on a show and do it the best way he knows how. And then there was the after party rave, and my God, the after party had Fatboy Slim as the DJ. So people are having a fun time for a while until somebody drives a big ass van into the venue, and they gotta get that van out or else Fatboy Slim can't perform anymore. And people are booing at Fatboy Slim, they're booing at everybody up there, and they're legit throwing shit like glass bottles and rockets at them. And not Limp Bizkit, and Fatboy Slim is like, it's not my fault, man. Yeah, throwing shit is another thing that's been going on a lot, especially on Saturday, where like they're throwing tons of trash at people, especially the people who were running the place when they go up on stage, because we don't like the shit you're doing to us, bro. So, what happened with the van is that one of the staff members went inside that van to find a teenage girl around 15 or 16 with her shirt up over her boobs and her pants down to her ankles. And there's this other older dude in there who is just now putting his pants on. And the girl is passed out. So after that, more riots start to happen because the attendees just want to hear some great music and party on, and things were obviously getting worse. So Fatboy Slim was like, I'm getting the fuck out of here. And that's something that definitely continued up till tomorrow. On Sunday, that's when shit really hit the fan. There was a press conference, and the guys in charge pretty much lied, saying that everything was going according to plan, and everything's fine. There's a couple bad apples in there, but you know what? Everything's going well. We'll get to more of that later, but for now, what's going on at the actual festival is that everyone's sunburnt. A lot of people are sunburnt. They're dehydrated because there's a lack of water, and they weren't allowed to bring in water to begin with, and it's hot as hell that day. It was also hot as hell yesterday, so everyone's hot as hell. Not to mention the fact that the water supply is basically run out. It's either run out or it's stained brown and contaminated. So the water was contaminated, making it unsafe to drink or shower in. Guess what? People were still drinking and showering in the water. Not to mention, the porta potties were leaking shit water. It was leaking down to the ground, so everybody thought it was mud, and they were rolling in the mud and smothering it all over their bodies and on their faces, being like, come to Woodstock, you get to roll in the mud, not knowing they're rolling in shit water. And also, there's talks of there being a surprise final performance. The planned final performance was the Red Hot Chili Peppers, but there was some talks about another surprise performance happening right after them. There were some talks of like Michael Jackson, Guns N' Roses, the Rolling Stones, Basically, people were really anticipating for this surprise guest. It was also when a lot of people started to leave. A lot of people were just burnt out from the previous couple nights. Not to mention, some of them were getting sick from the water. So they made the pretty smart call to leave before Woodstock 99 was over. The musical acts happen. Willie Nelson does a performance. Nothing really noticeable happens there. Just Willie Nelson performing. The other acts are pretty unnoticeable aside from the fact that, like, as soon as Jewel was done performing, she was like, yeah, I'm getting the fuck out of here, like, immediately. You think after almost 6 years of YouTube, I'd learned to silence my damn phone while recording. Apparently not. So the Red Hot Chili Peppers perform. Flea is completely naked. Several other people in the crowd are completely naked. And the crowd, of course, is going absolutely wild. But then, the staff started to hand out matches and candles to people in the audience. So when Red Hot Chili Peppers play Under the Bridge, the candles are light in the air and they're waving it, and it is one of, if not the only moment throughout the entire weekend that is just like something that would have come out of the original Woodstock. Bush's performance from Friday was close, but nothing really matched the levels of the final song from the Red Hot Chili Peppers show. It was honestly beautiful to see Red Hot Chili Peppers performing Under the Bridge while seeing a bunch of people in the crowd waving candles in a very peace, kumbaya type moment. It was beautiful until they fucked it all up. So yeah, apparently giving a big ass crowd a bunch of lighters and candles, this same crowd that has been getting more and more angry over the course of a weekend because of the production team not treating them fairly, was a bad idea, because somebody started a fire, a giant fire, and that one fire turned into several. And after the Chili Peppers were officially done, all hell broke loose. The TV reporters from MTV, ABC News, and all the other news channels were like, hey yo, people are burning shit, we need to get the fuck out of here. And so there are several riots going on, several fires are being created. They're taking literally everything they can find that has Woodstock's name on it or anything from this event and just burning it onto the fires as a big old riot in response to the people at Woodstock just not treating them right and exploiting them. Like, dear God. And the fire department just refused to come to put out the fire because they were like, oh hell no, we're not going down there. It got so bad that the police had to come in and just attack everybody and put a stop to it. And that was the end of Woodstock 99. But oh God, it gets worse. There was a press conference the very next morning where the guys in charge were pretty much like, we're not going to take any responsibility for what happened. It's not our fault at all. There were just a couple bad apples in that group of good kids who just wanted to hear some good music and rock out. And that there's a few bad apples claim could immediately be thrown out the window just by looking at the pictures and videos, seeing thousands of kids joining in the ruckus and burning crap. So everybody saw through the horrible lies that happened at that press conference, but oh God, it gets worse! Even worse! Remember the incident that I told you guys about with the van on night 2 during the rave? Well, there were many more instances of women getting raped throughout Woodstock 99, and it's fucking disgusting. And it was happening all over the event, too. Women were getting raped in the tents that were set up. They were getting raped in the raids and the raves. Rapes in the mosh pit, and even something super simple like a bunch of guys grabbing women's butts and boobs while crowd surfing. It was disgusting of what all those men did to all those women. And it was also disgusting on how the people in charge treated the people who attended Woodstock 99. Like, how terribly they treated the people who attended Woodstock that year. Like, it drove them to do stuff that the great majority of them would most likely never do in their normal lives. But the fact that they've been shat on the entire weekend via expensive pricing for food and water, the fact that it was so hot, and not to mention the fact they weren't given the surprise musical guests that they were promised. They were just like, enough is enough. We're about to fucking riot. It was already clear that by day one, this wasn't Woodstock 1969. But, yeah, this definitely wasn't Woodstock 1969, or any type of Woodstock you would think it would be. And the crazy thing about it is that a lot of the guests who were at Woodstock in 99 that they got for this show said that if given the chance, they would do it again. Even though a lot of them had a very scary experience, they did get to see artists and bands that they love. And the rocking out and the partying, that part was genuinely fun. Let's just ignore the riots, the rapes, and the burning the whole place to the ground element, and you'd have a pretty successful Woodstock revival. And the very last scene is the co-founder of Woodstock explaining why he thinks Woodstock 99 went wrong. And the very last thing we see is that he died 3 months after taking that interview, and that there are zero plans to revive Woodstock in the future. Now, this documentary has been very informative, and it's been told in a very great way. I like how we do get to see both sides of the argument on how it was handled. Like, everybody could agree that it was a disaster, but there are different people out there who can't really seem to agree on how much of a disaster it was. Like, you'll find one guy being interviewed who's like, everything was fine, we had some things under control, there were just a couple bad apples. And you have another person, mainly a TV reporter, who was like, oh hell no, it was crazy, that's bullshit. And even some of the guests who were there were like, it got absolutely nuts and it was genuinely scary. I remember there was one lady who said, if my mom knew what was actually going to be happening there, she would be like, you're not going. And in regards to interviewing the musical acts, one part that really stood out to me was one of the Jonathan Davis interviews, and where he was basically just talking about how horribly the women were treated at Woodstock 99, and the behavior was inexcusable regardless of the circumstances they were in, and how girls should have fun just as much as guys should. But if I do have one critique with this documentary, it's a very good show, but that's my main problem. It's a show. Why isn't this a movie? Now you're probably thinking, well, obviously, there was so much content, they just had to split it up into a TV show. But, like, really think about it. Each episodes are like 45, 50 minutes long. And there's only 3 episodes. Compiling those episodes together, that's 2.5 hours. I mean, for Christ's sake, I'm pretty sure Netflix has released movies that's longer than this entire series. I'm not mad that this isn't a movie, but it just feels weird to me, you know? But overall, I'd say Trainwreck, Woodstock 99, is an incredibly fascinating series, a great mini-series that if you ever were interested in learning about Woodstock 1999, definitely give this show a watch. It is very fascinating, very intriguing, and it's very well put together documentary. Highly recommend you check it out whenever you can. Great show. But that is it for this video. What did you guys think of Trainwreck Woodstock 99? Please let me know in the comments below. And also be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And ring the bell to be notified when future videos are uploaded. And if we get to 300 subscribers by the end of the year, then I will make one giant video reviewing every single SpongeBob video game. But if you want to see that, then please hit the subscribe button. And until then, I'll see you later. Bye!